Now, Russia has launched fresh attacks on Ukrainian cities to continue to put pressure on Zelensky's government. This comes as world leaders insist on investigations of the Kremlin's repeated attacks on civilian targets. Russian troops on Friday pressed their assaults on the West Ukrainian city of Lviv by targeting its airport area. Now, according to Lviv authorities, at least 3 blasts were heard near the airport as several missiles struck the aircraft maintenance facility. Several buildings near to the facility were damaged, but there were no reports of human casualties. The Lviv governor has slammed Moscow for launching attacks on the city, which is one of the most important crossroads for people fleeing Ukraine.
Це удар по місту Львову, по гуманітарному хабу, в якому як мінімум зараз знаходиться 200 тисяч переселенців, які вже один раз йшли від військових дій. І удар ворога по місту Львову – це ще раз підтвердження того, що вони не воюють з українським військом, а воюють з населенням, з дітьми, з жінками, з переселенцями.
Now, over 100 empty prams were laid out in Lviv's central square on Friday as part of a campaign highlighting the large number of children casualties during the ongoing Russian invasion. Now, located just 70 kilometers from the Polish border, Lviv has become a safe haven for Ukrainians fleeing other war-torn parts of the country. It hosts nearly 200,000 internally displaced people who were forced to evacuate their homes due to the ongoing conflict. Meanwhile, at least 1 person was killed and several others were injured after fragments of a Russian missile hit a residential neighborhood in Kyiv's Podil district on Friday. Nearly 100 people were evacuated from a residential building after fires ignited following the attack. Hundreds of Ukrainians still stuck in the Ukrainian capital have now sought shelter in the underground subways or bomb shelters.
Нормально, дещо виходимо, купуємо, а так приносять тут вода і їжа, є волонтери. Тут з голоду не помреш, щоб таке було бажання їсти. А воно ж, бачите, таке становище, що не дуже хочеться нічого.
Although Kyiv has so far been spared from repeated bombardments seen in other cities like Kharkiv or Mariupol, authorities say at least 60 civilians have been killed in the capital since Russia launched its invasion on the 24th of February. Now, for more on this, Executive Director at Center for Civil Liberties, Sasha Romantsova, is joining us live from Kyiv. Sasha, thank you for being with us on this broadcast. What is the current situation in the Ukrainian capital? How common have the air raid sirens become in Kyiv? How are you coping?
We have now 6 neighborhoods where it was attacked and was shelling by different kinds of weapons from Russia side. And you told about 60. Now we have information about 222 civilian person who was killed by this bomb or dying because of explosion. And yeah, mostly it's nearly 15%. So each second like citizen was left the capital. And now mostly it's like area where you have only, if you're going somewhere, that means you're going or buying some foods or help some volunteers or help some territorial defense troops and support them to prepare for attacks, because it's still Russian Federation still told that one of the target it's occupied by Kyiv, but I think it will be really hard to do that because Kyiv have a specific geographical position, left and right banks of big rivers, and we don't have a lot of bridges there. So control the bridges, you have control, you have a possibility to control security of half of most important half of city, and right bank it's higher, so it's hills, and it's really hard even imagine how exactly army and Russia Federation can come and do something inside the city. But they try. That's why they're exactly not coming, but they're shelling us by different rockets and bombs. And it's really strange that target of their shelling, one of them, for example, was metro station, Lukyanovka called, and city around of them, it's civilian blocks. We don't have any object there. So it's really strange. Inside the city, we're just prepared. It's only one way how we can react for that.
Yeah. Now, we can see the images of destruction in Ukraine due to the Russian strikes. What do you feel when you see these images?
Well, first of all, I'm angry because it's not a question of some logic. It's not rationality to destroy exactly a city which you, inside your media area for your citizens, you told that we just want to release Ukrainians from some fascist or some Nazi. I even not can imagine what exactly they do. They release my personal city from civilians or something like this. And same situation with, for example, Mariupol, where you know that was bombing theater. And that theater with a big basement, so a lot of people, more than 1,000 sitting there in like a bomb shelter, and still they continue bombing this neighborhood in Mariupol, so nobody can even take people from this basement. It's really hard situation, and that's really strange because a lot of people trying to evacuate themselves or using the green corridor, so evacuation corridor, where they have a negotiation with Russian Federation confirmed that they give this possibility, but they shoot down any civilian cars, even with some tables like children's, or some tables like a medicine, or some tables even like a press. You know, a lot of examples of international press representative who was shooting. So it's really big. It's a really big, not understandable situation. We have a lot of information about marauders. So the people who comes to the, like Armenians people, I mean, militarians, Russian militarians come to the villages and take all what they saw. It's not only about, like, for example, food. We understood that soldiers don't have a support from Russian Federation, so they need the food. But they took like television, some I don't know, furs, some jewelers, and it's really strange because it's broke all the rules of the war and international rules. I mean, international humanitarian law. So that's why you know that international prosecutor of international courts come in here and work now inside the Ukraine, and they documented, and whole, like our organization, Human Rights Defender Organization, with same documented whole war crimes which we have, and we have a huge number of them. So it's really big not understandable if it's war and Russia Federation told about some releasing or some help of local citizen. Why exactly they give such permission for their army, and they really have only one result: hold the civilians population of Ukraine hates these guys.
Absolutely. Now, how do you react to Russia admitting that it's using advanced hypersonic missiles for the first time in Ukraine?
I'm not sure that it's first time. It's first time when it's all of the people like see it and all of the people can document it. I think before that they use it in huge number of their war activity during the last 30 years. And I hope it's only now when Ukrainians start to be so openly attacked, only now people start to think about what happened before. For example, you know that in Council of Europe was make a decision that they accept that Moldova in 1992 was part of Moldova was occupied by Russia Federation. This decision make only now, and you know that a court of UN between Russia and Ukrainian make a solution that Russian need to go back with whole their army from territory of Ukraine, and Russia don't give any answer, and I think they will not like exactly do what courts say. So it's only now it started to be open that Russia do that and do that illegally. Before that, they do that, but nobody can exactly like catch them in this case. But Ukrainian, it's truly this Russian-Ukrainian war. It's war online. you know all about what happened here in the territory after 24 hours when it's happened. So before that, Russians have a time and trying to cover all this such situation and don't show it. But now they don't have this time, and they don't have a possibility to break this situation that any person have online vision and online video from their telephone. That's why we know about that. What we think about? We think that it's one of the points which need to be put in the case and will be put in the international court. That's only one way. Absolutely. That's why we need here more and more international mission.
Yeah. How do you look at the UN warning of risk of human trafficking for Ukrainians, as hundreds of thousands of, especially women and children, are fleeing the war-torn nation?
It's a big problem because we understood that inside the Ukrainian, we feel first of all that biggest our problem, it's a war, but when we go in quiet Europe where they don't feel such a problem, they have still their own problem. And this trafficking that was before that was a big problem in south part of Europe and Balkan countries. So that's some criminals who using this situation when people so weak, and they do that to using it in their crimes action. So I think I hate this situation, sure, but we're trying to spread information how people can protect themselves and how don't start to be victims of such situation. But it's really hard because a lot of people first time going outside of country, they don't have any skills, like for example some languages or something like this. Because if you come to Polish, it's really easy to understand Polish. But if you come to some, for example, like Austria or Germany, so it's big differences between languages. So it's really hard to do that. And from one side, from other sides, a lot of people don't have such experience to be outside the country, so they don't sometimes not oriented what happened there. That's why. First of all, we spread information about it can happen, and second, we spread information about official center of help for refugees which we check in, so we know that it's truly people who will support you and not do something like that.
Right. And Sasha, finally, how do you react to Russian President Putin's statement where he's accusing the Ukraine of numerous war crimes during his call with French President Emmanuel Macron?
They're trying to do that from 2014, and we really check it because for us it's really important. We are human rights defenders, so we don't care about who do like war crimes or some action or violence against humanity or something like this. That's why we check all information which Russia Federation before that bringing to the international organization and told that it's Ukrainian war crimes. They even create like some like white book of Ukrainian Nazism. We took it. It's really big. We took it and started check all the cases, and they don't have any information exactly like sources where they do that. For example, when we prepare such information, for example, you know that in Ukrainian we have such situation when one of military volunteer troops do some torture action. So that was put in the court, and we have a decision, and head of these troops and exactly people who do that from Ukrainian side, they sitting in the jail. So it's not here. It's Ukraine. It's really open country and through this transparency for international organizations. So we have OSCE mission, we have UN mission. All of them can check any situation where they really think that it can be a problem. That's why Russian Federation needs some arguments why their citizens need support this war. That's why they told about that. But in this way, they don't give the other sources that people can check something like this if they told about. That's why it's a big problem when people manipulate and people don't want to even, I don't know, it's a big problem because 73% of population of Russia Federation supports this war. And I know that it's a result of 20 years of media propaganda, but it's really hard for us because it's same people. In Ukraine, all of us, we understood Russian and Ukrainian both. So for us, it's really hard to understand how it can be people with 1,050,000, it's a lot of 150 million of people, why they can change exactly like president who put them in the war. But they can even understood what's the reason, what is the result of this action. So that's why for Ukrainian, it's just a dangerous situation. And not only for Ukrainian, it's for whole the Europe, because they spread this information that the whole the Europe, it's enemies of Ukraine and enemies of Russia Federation. So it started be when they finished the Ukrainian, they started be took other neighbors like Finland, Baltic country, Poland, and they understood it better than whole the Ukrainian, the whole the European Union. That's why we have a support from our neighbors.
Right. Sasha, we will have to leave it there. Thank you very much for being with us on this broadcast, coming to us live from Kyiv, from the Center for Civil Liberties. Stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.